Hey guys, my name's Ethan. I got into the FSU College of Music with an $8,000 music scholarship. Today, I'm here to walk you through the entire audition process. Everything from picking out solo repertoire to the actual audition day, I'm going to cover it today in this video. Some background about myself. I've been playing percussion since I was in 5th grade, which is about 7 years. I've been taking private lessons for about 2 years since 10th grade. Side note, my private teacher, Sammy DeAngelis, he's amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you to him. I wouldn't be where I am without him. I only decided I wanted to major in music in the spring of 11th grade, and then my audition prep started in the summer of 12th grade. Preparing for the audition. Something I would like to note is if you are auditioning for a college of music, then I would highly recommend having a private teacher. They just make your life a lot easier, and it significantly improves your chances of getting into your school. Like I said, I've been taking private lessons for about 2 years. When I started my audition prep, I was taking lessons once every week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. It really depended on how much progress I was making. I don't know if I'm exactly qualified enough to give private lessons yet, but if you guys have any more concerns after this video, then feel free to leave a comment down below. Picking out audition material. My audition material was mostly selected by my private teacher just because he had way more expertise over me on what repertoire would be good for my audition. So I would just consult your private teacher. I was given a few options to choose from for my 4-mallet solo, but everything else, the 2-mallet snare drum and timpani solos, my private teacher just chose for me because I didn't really have any idea what I should play. Now I'll show you guys what I played. For my 4-mallet solo, I played Rotation 1 by Eric Samut. I played Suite 2 Gigue by Bach for my 2-mallet solo. From Portraits in Rhythm by Anthony Cerrone, I played solo number 32. And from Concepts for Timpani by John Beck, I played solo number 1. So yeah, I think I had a pretty good package of solos for my audition. Obviously it was more mallet focused since I'm a way better mallet player than snare drum or timpani player, but it just depends on what you want to do. For picking out solos for you guys, I would say pick a solo that you can master. Don't pick something that's way out of your skill range. Otherwise, the audition committee doesn't want to hear it. For example, for percussionists, they would rather hear you play Yellow After the Rain perfectly than, I don't know, whatever hard marimba solos there are out there. You get the idea though. Just pick something that you can master and that you know you'll be super well prepared for by the time your audition comes around. Okay, now for a timeline of my entire audition prep. During the summer, when I started my audition prep, I learned my 4-mallet solo and 2-mallet solo. And I learned these mostly on my 3-octave practice marimba, that one right there. But also a little bit at school when the school year started. Also, during the summer, my private teacher gave me 2 books to work from. He gave me stick control, because I'd never done stick control before, and as well as intermediate snare drum studies, just to get me used to learning snare drum solos. So every week or two, I would play solos from the intermediate snare drum studies, and then my teacher would give me feedback on it, and then we would move on to the next solo. I also learned solos from the book The All-American Drummer by Charlie Wilcoxon, but my private teacher just sent me a PDF of that. I didn't actually buy the book. And that was a good way for me to just get used to learning snare solos. And of course I did stick control every day, mostly. Now, once I started school, my audition prep did slow down a little bit. I mean, that makes sense with like schoolwork, college applications, marching band, all of that stuff. So I wouldn't stress about it, but practice it every week, just find some time. I know my senior year was busy. I was an IB student and I was in marching band, I was doing all that stuff. So it was busy, but I still found time to practice. Then heading into December, after the marching season was over and all of that, I was able to focus more fully on my audition prep. And this is also around the time that I chose my timpani and snare drum solos. And you could say I chose them a little bit late, but to be fair, I barely play any snare solos or timpani solos anyway. So I needed some time to practice before I chose my solo. And just as a frame of reference, I would practice maybe 1 to 2 hours every day after school in the band room, and then also during my band class for like an hour. Also at the start of December, I chose my audition day for my FSU audition, and there were 3 days I could have picked from: January 25th, February 8th, and February 25th or something like that. I chose the middle day because I knew I wanted more time than January 25th, but I felt that I would be prepared enough for February 8th. So I would just say choose whatever day you think you'll be prepared by. And also, I definitely did not want to do the 25th because that was the same day that my composition portfolio was due for my, wait, let me explain. So I applied as a music composition major, so I had to submit 2 to 3 compositions I made by January 25th. So I was not gonna schedule those 2 things on the same day. And in case you were wondering, no, I got rejected from composition. Actually, no.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I got waitlisted. If I got accepted, I would also be making a guide how to get into the composition program. But I mean, maybe I'll make that in a year, who knows? Anyway, after January 25th, when my compositions were done and all that, I was able to practice even more every single day, probably like 2 to 3 hours at school, and just really hone in on the audition prep. Now, the last week or two leading up to my audition at FSU, my practice sessions were basically do a mock audition, then fix anything that went wrong, and then just do it again. Because honestly, you need a lot of practice doing the full audition. I would audition in front of as many people as possible. I auditioned in front of my private teacher, my band director, my brother, my friends, my percussion class, my concert band class, my school teachers, and it really gave me a lot of practice and got me used to auditioning in front of people and not getting nervous. And also my private teacher, he asked me questions that were in the style of the audition, like, why do you want to go to this school? And that kind of stuff, just to get me used to answering those kind of questions. And in addition to auditioning for FSU, I auditioned for USF and UF. I recommend auditioning for more than your #1 choice because there's a chance you don't get into there. And also the other auditions can serve as practice for your #1 choice. And that's what I did. My audition for USF was 2 Saturdays before my FSU audition. And my audition for UF was 1 Saturday before my FSU audition. So it was good leading up to FSU audition to just get me practice. And also the professors at those 2 schools gave me feedback, which I used to help me improve my solos. If you guys wanted to see full videos of my audition warm-up routine and my actual audition, then that stuff will be linked in the comments section along with all the stuff I talked about in this video. So for me, I practice in 2 extremes. Either I practice a ton and that's all I'm doing, or I just don't do anything. Now, while that's not the best practice, I still was able to maintain somewhat of a consistent practice schedule. So I would just try to keep it as consistent as possible, but just do what works for you. Now, I know that practicing for auditions can be very draining, playing the same thing over and over again. I have 2 tips to keep you guys motivated. Tip number 1, remember that there's always something you can do to improve your pieces. It might be something musically, you could do something more dynamically, or maybe you should take some time to work out that one really difficult section that you've been avoiding but you know needs some work. For me, that was the 8/5 polyrhythm in rotation 1. Like I said before, I was still making changes to my solos the weeks before my audition, and most of this was from feedback from the professors at USF and UF. Thank you, Dr. Von Kampen. Tip number 2, keep your eyes on the prize. Always remember what you are practicing for. You're working to attend the musical institution that will give you the education that will stay with you for a lifetime and hopefully jumpstart your future career. Remember that no matter how tired you are of practicing, it'll all be worth it when you walk out of the audition room and you'll know that there's nothing more you could have done to increase your chances of getting in. Plus, I mean, getting accepted is nice too. Supplemental application materials. So first I want to talk about the solo repertoire list, the one that you have to submit to the school prior to your audition. Number 1, just make sure to check what each school says because they might vary. For example, at FSU, you had to submit all the solos you've played to date. And for UF, it was just all the solos you've played in the past 2 years. So make sure you look out for that. Okay, now I'll go over the things I had in my solo repertoire list. For the mallet section, I just put all the solos I had played since 8th grade because I felt that from 8th grade on, my solos were high enough musical quality to be put on the list. Most of these solos I just learned for fun for my high school concerts. That was honestly my main goal with them. The only exception was the Sweet One Quaranta, which I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's one that I learned with my private teacher. And the Masterworks for Mallets, Fantasia, which I learned for the All-State audition when I was in 9th grade. I did not make it in, guys. Basically, all the snare drum solos on there I learned with my private teacher over the summer when we were practicing solos and just getting used to learning them. So that was also smart on him for having me play those solos so that I could have it on my audition repertoire list. And solo 10 from Portraits and Rhythm was, again, from the audition I had at All-State in 9th grade. For timpani, I literally only had the solo I played for my All-State audition, so it was a pretty sad timpani repertoire list, which, I mean, it's okay. They know that high schoolers usually aren't playing a ton of timpani solos, but it wouldn't be bad if you had more on there. To sum it up, it's okay if your entire repertoire list isn't like stacked to the brim, but you want to have at least 1 or 2 strong sections. Now, I had to submit a supplemental essay for my music application, and the prompt was, please write a short statement describing your professional goals and your desire to attend FSU College of Music. 650 words maximum. So only a pretty basic prompt, honestly. I'll just go over the essay real quick. For the essay, I spent about a third of the essay giving background about myself and why I wanted to major in music at FSU. Then I spent only about 100 words describing my career goals. I could have gone a bit more in depth, but I mean, it's okay. And then I spent the majority of the essay naming specifically why I wanted to attend FSU. So this included like researching professor names, knowing specific clubs and organizations, stuff like that. You want to make sure you name stuff specific so that then they know you actually care about going to their school and you actually have an interest. If you guys wanted more essay tips though, I'm definitely not the best resource. Honestly, there's way better resources out there. I just thought I'd give you my essay as an example. By the way, everything I talk about in this video, I'll have a link to it in the comment section and you guys can check it out. I wouldn't worry too much about the letter of recommendation since there's not much you can do about it in the first place. I would just give it to your most trusted musical advisor and they'll write you a perfectly fine letter of recommendation. Don't give it to them at the last minute. That's not going to enable them to write their best letter. You're gonna want to give them at least 2 weeks, but I would say even a month, just so that they can have a lot of time to think about it and write you the best letter that they can. Now I'm gonna go over my entire audition day and everything I think you should do for it. I would recommend getting to whatever university you are auditioning for the day before the actual audition. This reduces the amount of stress you have to go through with travel, especially if you're flying, and it also enables you to get a full night rest, which is important so that you can perform at your best on the audition day. For me, I was able to drive to all 3 of the universities I auditioned at since I live in Florida, but even for FSU, I still got there a day early because it was a 4-hour drive. I was not about to wake up at 3 a.m. for my 8 a.m. check-in. Now make sure that you dress appropriately for your audition day. Remember that you want to show the audition committee that you care about their program and take yourself seriously. You don't have to dress like you're at the King and Queen's royal wedding or anything, but also make sure that you're showing respect to the school that you are auditioning at. Also make sure that you dress in a way that enables you to play your instrument at your very best. For me, since I play percussion, I wanted maximum mobility, so I wore dress shorts and a collared short sleeve shirt. And you could say I underdressed a little bit, but I felt comfortable and confident in my clothing. Make sure you guys give yourself enough time to warm up on audition day. I would show up a little bit early before your check-in time so that you can scout out the place and look for the best practice rooms. And for me, that wasn't really a problem since I was the very first audition of the day, but that usually isn't the case. So you want to make sure that after you do all your tours and stuff, you can quickly find a practice room so that you can have enough warm-up time before your audition. I spent about 30 minutes warming up on my audition day. I spent like 5 to 10 minutes doing warm-up exercises, then just playing through my pieces and making sure everything was nice and clean for the audition. I would just recommend not overdoing it. Just do what you always do during practice and you'll be fine. When you enter the audition room, you want to make sure that you walk in confidently. This means walking tall, speaking clearly, making eye contact. All of that stuff will improve the audition committee's first impressions of you. And by the way, make sure that you guys remember the names and composers of all of your pieces so that when they ask you what you're going to be playing, you can say the name and composer of the pieces. Now for the actual audition, try not to worry too much about the outcome. You've practiced a lot for this, so don't worry about how it goes, just do what you know how to do and you'll be fine. The audition committee also knows how it feels to have audition day nerves, so don't worry too much. They know that everybody's kind of nervous. Keep in mind that you'll most likely get stopped in the middle of your pieces once the audition committee has made their assessment of you. I wouldn't let this get in your head or anything. I would just move on and get ready to play the next piece. There's also a good chance that the professor will work with you briefly on your solo once you finish it. And this is a good time to show the professor that you know how to listen to directions and can work with them. And just a small thing, but after my audition was over, I made sure to say thank you to the professors and the committee for just taking the time to consider me and all that kind of stuff. You can do what you want, but I would just make sure to at least say thank you. Now for any audition interview questions, I would just answer them honestly. They're not trying to ask you any gotcha questions. They just want to know why you want to attend their school. And this is a good time to show the professor and the audition committee why you want to attend their program. In preparation of this, I would 100% do research on the program and knowing why you want to go there, as well as also doing research on the professor themselves, because you never know when that information might come up. Do not walk in there and only be able to say, Google said you have a very prestigious music program. Make sure you talk about specifics, like ensembles, groups, clubs on campus, all that kind of stuff. Closing thoughts. I hope that this guide was helpful. If this guide even helped one of you guys out there, then I would be super happy about that. And again, if there's anything I didn't mention in this video, then drop a comment below and I'll definitely answer you as quick as possible. With all that being said, good luck on audition prep. You guys got this. See ya.